What's up guys, Afflicted Gamer here back with another Division video. So it is Friday, March 31st, which means the vendors have reset for the week. And I will go from safe house to safe house, showing you guys basically only the best of the best to save you the time from doing that. So if this video is helpful in any way, shape, or form, then a like would be super appreciated, and consider subscribing to the channel for more Division content like this, because these videos do take quite a bit of time to make. So hopefully you guys will enjoy, and hopefully we will have some good stuff this week. First up, at the base of operations, the weapons vendor is actually selling a pretty decent police UMP-45. I know these weapons are not used that often, but honestly, he has a pretty decent role, and I hope to see more of these in the game. 20.5% crit hit chance, 18.7k base damage, 600 RPM, a little bit on the low side. You can bump that up, and 30 in the mag, but it comes with destructive, responsive, and then the given ambusher. Increase your damage by 10% against targets in cover. Not too bad. At the gear vendor, she actually has a prototype electronics mod. Those of you that are interested in stacking skill haste, well, 265 is on the higher end of the spectrum, so that is here available at the base. At the advanced weaponry vendor in the base, he actually has a couple of good items. Definitely not that Rhino, but the M700 Tactical, 169% headshot damage, 106k base damage, 54 RPM, 7 in the mag, has harmful, toxic, and elevated. Obviously, you could reroll off any of the talents for brutal if you chose to, but harmful for the bleed effect is always helpful, especially in PvP. Toxic, the bind status effect, helpful in any scenario. Elevated is the only one that I'm iffy on, but it's in the free slot, so you could buy a couple, put something like brutal, destructive, anything of that sort in that slot, worth taking a look at. There is also a suppressor here with 70% crit hit damage, 2% accuracy, and 5.5% headshot damage with reduced threat. I would rather have crit chance instead of accuracy, but it's not terrible if you're in need for one. And there is also a Pro Red Dot Sight 10 with 6% headshot damage, 4.5% optimal range, and 4% crit hit damage. Optimal range, it would be crit hit chance if I had my choice, but that is there in case you are in desperate need of one. Okay, moving on. Down in the hub, first we're going to take a peek at the special equipment vendor, see what the rolls are like on our exotics for this week. And we've got a supply drop. Okay, the Centurion this week has expert and commanding, nothing too special. The Historian has 146% headshot damage, well, it's pretty low actually. Proficient, accurate, and history repeats. I would actually skip it for the week. Last week's was much better. The Cassidy has, capable, dominant, boomstick, not that great. The Pecan, 18k base damage, unforgiving, destructive, and there we go. If you do not have a good Pecan, I would pick this one up this week for sure. The Liberator this week, 18.2k base damage, 20% enemy armor damage with skilled, prepared, and brutal. Well, you could reroll off skilled and you have a fantastic Liberator right there. Enemy armor damage could be a little bit higher, but overall, this is a good Liberator. MB7, let's check it out for those of you that still like it. 14.1k base damage, 19% crit chance, a little bit low. Sustained, predatory, and hurried. It's actually good PvE talents to keep your health up. The Black Market SASG 12, 291 stagger, a little bit on the low side. Vicious, commanding, and self-preserved, not that great. Surplus SVD, capable, skilled, disciplined, no. MG5, capable, self-preserved, determined. Nothing too special. Pretty good Tenacious Mask though, 1271 stamina. Wow. 7% enemy armor damage and minor attribute, 12% kill XP. You could either keep that or re-roll it. That would be totally up to you for something like damage to elites. Pretty nice. And the rest of the equipment I will let you guys scroll through, just because everybody's build is always different and you never know. There might be something here that you guys might like. Let's head over and see what blueprints are available this week. Hopefully something good. Okay, so the ACR is here again, and the MP7 blueprint is here again. So anybody looking to craft their own, the MP7 is here. Firearms backpack, holster, there is a flash hider, heavy magazine spring, and that is about it. Nothing too special over here other than the MP7 blueprint. Alright, let's start off with the safe houses. Alright, at the Dante's Run safe house, it's nothing too special, but for those of you that are running Reclaimer or any sort of support build with your life support station or anything like that, there is a 7% support station range prototype performance mod. Always helps to keep that going. Helpful with Reclaimer especially. Figured I would show that to you guys. At the Autumn's Hope safe house, she has a pretty good prototype performance mod with 7.5% support station range. Anybody running Reclaimer or a sort of a healer build, then this is here for you guys to pick up if you don't already have one. Let's keep going. Hope for something good this week. At the West 53rd DZ checkpoint, she has a couple of half-decent items. There is a tactical SA-58, 21% enemy armor damage, 24.1k base damage with prepared, responsive, and vicious. Not too bad. There's also a reckless chest piece with 1271 electronics, so anybody running a skill build that likes a little bit of recklessness in it, no pun intended, then this is here for you. 5% health on kill, over 16,000 health, and 27% increased kill XP. You could reroll that off for, say, ammo capacity. Overall, not a bad chest piece. On top of that, there is a prototype stamina mod, 259 stamina with 1% crit chance. Nothing too special, but those of you that like to stack your crit, there is that here if you don't have a stamina mod blueprint.
Stop wasting my time. I'm sure you'll be back.
So at the West 42nd Street Dark Zone checkpoint, there is a Model 700 carbon here, 153% headshot damage, not all that high, but it does have brutal, intense, and elevated. If you cannot meet the electronics requirement for intense, I would reroll that for something else like destructive, prepared, anything of your choosing. There is also a rehabilitated mask, which you would have to obviously bump up the electronics or swap it into firearms or stamina, but it does have 7% enemy armor damage and 12% kill XP. Finally, anybody that is using all resistance, there is a 264 firearms mod if you're desperate for it, but I would honestly pass that completely. A mega rifle suppressor with 16.5% headshot damage, 4% critical hit damage, and 4.5% optimal range with reduced threat. If you could get crit chance instead of optimal range, that would be better, but this is here if you are desperate for a suppressor. Again, that's at West 46th Street. At the West 46th Street DZ checkpoint, there are quite a few decent items here. Once again, another Model 700 tactical. This one is better with 162% headshot damage, 112k base damage, with proficient, adept, and elevated. Obviously, you could just re-roll off adept for brutal, and you would have a pretty decent sniper. Also, a refresh mask with 1262 firearms, pretty good. The major attribute is skill power. If you re-roll that off for enemy armor damage, anything of your choosing, or even bump up the skill power, that's already good because there is damage to elites as a minor attribute. Finally, for those of you using Seeker Mines, there is a 4% Seeker Mine damage prototype performance mod here for sale also. Not too bad. And that is about it, but not too shabby at West 46th Street. At the Madison Stand Safe House, he actually has a pretty decent pair of Savage Gloves. 16% critical hit damage, over 4,000 marksman rifle damage, which you could obviously re-roll off for whichever weapon you choose to as your primary. And finally, 5% crit hit chance, not too bad. He also has a prototype for firearms mod with over 2,000, almost 3,000 skill power, 246, a little bit low, but for those of you that don't have a firearms mod blueprint, I thought that I would show this to you guys. Once again, that is at Madison Stand. At the Southpaw Safe House, he's got a pretty decent refresh mask with 1255 electronics, 4% health on kill and burn resistance. If you are running a skill build, you could leave the electronics where they are. The major attribute health on kill. Good for PvE and PvP, just depends on personal preference. Obviously, you could re-roll that for enemy armor damage, or decide to keep that and roll off burn resistance for something like damage to elites or protection from elites. Up to you, but not a bad mask for sure. And also, there is a prototype performance mod with 6.5% mobile cover health. Not terrible if you are running mobile cover.
Hey, no hard feelings.
At the Grindhouse Safe House, there is a site here. It is by far not the best, but there is a 552 hollow site with 7.5% crit hit chance, 4.5% optimal range, and 4% crit hit damage. Now, optimal range could be headshot damage, but for those of you that are in desperate need of one, this one is here. Well, it will go on your Lavoa C or even your lightweight M4. So, that's here.
The wrong people get their hands on whatever it is.
At the
Because I got a
Park
feeling it's
Ave
not passed
Dark
down
Zone
blind.
checkpoint, we're now
Get on
done
it,
with
agent.
all of the safe houses. Sadly, there was nothing else very good whatsoever at them. There is a 93R with expert and accurate, nothing too special, but some people like the 93R to go with Predator's Mark, so I thought I would show that to you guys there. You could obviously re-roll off accurate for harmful. Converted USC, 20% crit hit chance, 17.4k base damage with self-preserved, meticulous, and ambusher. Not too bad at all. There is a Scar L, 21% enemy armor damage, 21k base damage, 625 RPM with 30 in the mag, destructive, responsive, and brutal. Pretty nice set of talents right there. There is a M870, but this is really based around a skill build, so you know what, I'm going to pass on that. But this is everything available at this DZ checkpoint. At the East 53rd Street DZ checkpoint, she's got a pretty decent classic AK-47, 20% enemy armor damage, 21.4k base damage was sustained, capable, and unforgiving. There are a pair of Savage gloves here for anybody running a skill build, 1249 electronics, 7% skill haste, 15% critical hit damage, and 5% crit hit chance. On top of that, there is a prototype performance mod with 6.5% Seeker Mine explosion radius for anyone running Seeker Mines. Again, that's at East 53rd Street. At the East 46th Street DZ checkpoint, he does have an M870 Express with 296 stagger, not the greatest, but predatory, determined, and brutal are on it. You could obviously reroll off determined for something else and have, say, brutal, destructive, predatory, whatever it is you so choose to, be half decent for PvE. There is also another pair of Savage gloves with shotgun damage, critical hit damage, and unfortunately pistol damage. So if you can make up the stamina in any other area, then you could reroll off pistol damage for something else, or keep it if you like to do things with Colonel Bliss's holster and get a bit of extra pistol damage. Finally, there is a prototype electronics mod with 264 electronics and 2% all resistance. I know some people care about it, so I thought I would show you guys, but overall I would pass on that. The rest, not too bad. At the East 34th Street DZ checkpoint, anybody that likes the SOCOM Scar L, there's one here with 21% enemy armor damage, 20.8k base damage with vicious, prepared, and sustained. Pretty good for PvE. People overlook talents like sustained because, you know, it's not as powerful as something, say, brutal when landing headshots, but any portion of getting your health back is a good thing, especially for contaminated events. There is also a robust chest piece here with EDR, 5.5% enemy armor damage, and 51% ammo capacity. I would roll off the EDR for health if you are running a skill build and want to keep the electronics.
You're not gonna find a lot of.
Okay, so this is literally the final stop of the week. Sadly, there was nothing too special this week other
Hey,
than a
stupid.
couple of the
Over here.
exotics. There might be the odd blueprint at the hub that I may already have that some of you don't, so just double check there. But other than that, here at this last DZ checkpoint at East 31st, we've got a surplus SVD, pretty low headshot damage, so hopefully you guys bought the blueprint a little while ago. Vicious, commanding, and disciplined. I'd reroll off commanding for something else. And honestly, other than this pretty sad electronics mod at 239 with not even 3,000 health, that is it. I'm so sorry to say that. But anyways, once again, guys, if you did find this helpful and it does save you a lot of time from going from place to place, these do take a long time to make, please go
This
ahead
is the
and
shit
drop
you
the
need.
video a like. And if you are new to the channel, then I hope you will consider subscribing for more Division content like this and more on the way. I do the vendor reset videos every single week, the second that they reset, so stay tuned for those. On top of that, you can follow me on Twitter at AfflictedGamer, and the stream times for me to be live here on YouTube will be at the end of the video. As always, guys, thank you so much for your time. Have a good day, and I will see you soon in the next video.